What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? This is Coach G. Wanted to take some time out of this sunny afternoon that we have here before I go meet up with my kids, and I wanted to go ahead and kind of send a message to not just to the people that we have dealing with sex and porn addiction, but also the partners that they have as well. The mindful habit is right for both of you guys. And I want to take a moment to just kind of go ahead and just explain a bit of that, if you don't mind. You see, I came across the mindful habit at a time when I had reached my rock bottom, right? Like it was my holy crap moment. How did I get here kind of deal? I mean, I'm homeless. My wife has left me. My kids are gone. My oldest son is still with me, but he's copying my worst habits, and I'm sitting here wondering, like, how did I get here? I'm broke. I'm living less than check to check right now. I don't have a valid license and the whole nine from driving, dealing with, either sex or drugs or whatever the case may be. So I finally make a decision to get in contact with the mindful habit. And I got to tell you, the principles that came out of it, it's one of those pieces where I don't know if you ever heard information or somebody may have came to you with an idea that seemed like really crazy and far out, but a few years later, you start seeing everybody else with the exact same idea. Yeah, that's how I felt about the mindful habit system, right? I was like, this is kind of like that new age hippie thing. Like, maybe that's not for people like me, right? For whatever reason you want to label that, right? Like, I didn't think it was my particular fit, but yet, when we look up now, mindfulness is the key to teams winning championships, people making millions upon millions of dollars within their own business without exerting any extra effort than what they were doing before. We look at now the exposure that sex and porn has, not just on the industry itself, but also on the people who are partaking of this industry and the effects that it's having on the homes right now. So again, I know a lot of that may seem one-directed, right? Because I said that, the mindful habit is for both people in this situation. Well, as I entered my rock bottom moment and I came out of it and I did the work and I'm in communication with my wife, who thankfully hadn't left me at that time, but we were still separated, hadn't quite gotten the sign of the papers yet. I did the proverbial check off the list, right? I know a couple of you guys, if you haven't been in my situation, you say, hey, what do you need, honey? Like, what is it? And they give you the list. And I kind of did, I did everything. I did everything on the list that was possible except for relocate me and my son about 400 miles. Couldn't make that happen at that particular time, right? But I went ahead and I checked off everything else on the list. And when I came to her and I said, hey, I did everything, she still wasn't in the place yet for me. More importantly, she wasn't in the place yet for herself. You see, here's the pieces about the mindful habit that you may not know and what we end up providing to people all across the country, all across the world. This is why we're getting the attention that we're getting right now. You see, it is not so much about just simply transforming you from having this negative, debilitating, horrible habit into a powerful, working, piece of your life. It is about how we're able to take the level of awareness that we have within a particular situation, recognize our habitual outcomes that we have to those situations, and then be able to make the best change possible. See, I want you to think about that for a minute. You see, the reason why I know the mindful habit works for everybody is because when you as the partner went through this situation, one or two things happened. You either said, hey, okay, go deal with it, and more power to you. But if not, you probably went through 1,001 different emotions and levels of pain and hurt that you had never felt before. And more importantly, it just exposed some things out of you before. Like maybe you was like, I'm that person, I would never, say this to the man that I love. And here you are being faced with something that you didn't even quite really imagine would possibly happen to you. But yet that reaction that you said, hey, that ain't me, that would never come out of me, that came out. And it's not a fault. It's not a fault, just as much as I'm not here faulting the guys who are dealing with sex and porn addiction right now, in that we understand that that's really just a symptom of a bigger problem that we get a chance to find out through the mindful habit system. But what I am saying is that, ladies and gentlemen, both sides, something's been exposed. Your inability to be able to transform one habit into another and save your family and save your identity and try to reclaim your identity. Maybe you knew it to begin with, or maybe it was that you realize that, wow, there are some responses and reactions that are coming out of me that if they came out of my child, if they came out of my closest friend, if they came out of my loved ones, that I will look at them and say that that's not healthy. Granted, it's something we've always been maybe told to do, right? You know, if they do this, do this. Just because it's habitual, it doesn't make it healthy. And you see, that's what the mindful habit system is about. And more importantly, that's what I'm about. That's what the coaches here at the Mindful Habit are really about when you work with us one-on-one. Because you see, I don't really look at a situation, male or female, when we work with them and say, okay, I need to help make you the best husband. I got to make you the best wife, or I have to try to bring this couple back together, because all I know that I can really hang my hat on is 100% accountability. Like, I just know that for whatever situation I was invested in with my wife, that it wasn't 100% George that came to the table. And I know that when 100% George steps to the table, she's a happy woman and I'm in a great relationship. Like, I can't really judge the times I didn't come to the table 100%. We are taught that we're allowed to. That if we're somehow slacking and we only bring 70 or 80% of ourselves, that if the other party still don't bring their, contractual, right, or they're guaranteed 100%, we got now calls to question everything, but we didn't do our part. So I get it. Like, there's a part in this relationship where you're like, you didn't simply meet your mark. And all I'm asking right now is for the person that's saying that is that, am I in this moment 100% me? Am I bringing about some pieces that just aren't me, that I got to work to get rid of right now, that I can't just say that now once I've discovered this, once this person goes away, I'm going to be good to go. It doesn't really happen like that. Like, once we kind of figure out something was inside of us and something outside of us helped bring it out, just because the outside part goes away doesn't mean it stopped being within us. So listen, I know this is a pretty big conversation. I know there's a lot of different, questions and comments about this, conversation that I'm starting with you guys right now. And feel free to shoot me any comment in the world. But more importantly, I want you guys to recognize that we got 2 months left for the end of the year. And all I'm asking for you guys out of that last 2 months is to simply just make a decision. Make the decision that says, I want to do something that helps me to not have the same conversation over and over again. I want to do something that helps me to not react like this with my children, even though this happened with this person. I want to do something that says that when I'm out here by myself, independent, I know how to be able to handle myself with the correct identity, and my identity is not stuck on the last horrible experience that I had. Listen, you know the routine. Kick ass. I love you. Contact information is below. Let's talk. Let's get this job done. Have a great week. Peace.